Okay. So, you guys have not read this book, right?
Nope.
Okay. So, well, first we're going to do this. Luke, right? Graham, Austin. Okay. So, we're going to do something called an IEPC chart. So, I don't think you've ever done this before. It's just a reading strategy we use before we read a book so we can better understand the book. Does that make sense? So, your questions that are on here, we're going to do it together, but our first box is imagine, and it says imagine you are a car, because one of the books you guys were going to read or have read is about a car, the history of a car, or a different group, but you guys are a different group than I thought. So, that's fine. We're going to replace that with imagine you are a, what do they call this? Okay, a washing machine. Okay, but through history, so have we always had a washing machine?
No.
No. So, we had a wash bucket, right? That's what's shown on our cover. So our first box is imagine. So imagine you are a washing bucket, or you can do washing machine. I don't care, because this book talks about both of them. What do you think daily life would be like? So I just need a couple sentences in this first box. What do you think daily life would be like if you were a washing machine or washing bucket? Yes, Luke.
People would put clothes in there.
Yeah? So how many times a day does your mom use the washing machine?
A lot.
Like once or twice.
Yeah. Or
Like
does your
3 times.
So my mother-in-law does all of her laundry on one day. So every Saturday she does like 10 loads of laundry. So that could go either way. But I'll write mine and then you guys write yours. Let's do like 2 minutes and just write a little paragraph in that box. Does that make sense?
I write big, so I could only write 2 sentences.
Okay, Graham, tell me, well, did you pick a washing machine or a washing bucket?
A washing machine.
Okay, what'd you put?
Clothes would get put into me, I'd get wet.
You'd get what, okay? Austin?
I would be cleaning clothes and I'd get wet.
Okay.
If I were a washing machine, I think people would put clothes in me. I would get all wet and get dizzy.
And get, oh, because you're spinning? That's a good one. So I did a washing bucket. And I said if I was a washing bucket, I think I would wake up and be cold because I've been kept outside all night. And then I would have to work hard to clean clothes and I would be tired by the end of the day.
Well, you wrote all that.
No, I wrote one sentence, but you guys finished before I did. But that's what I was thinking. So we're going to look at the E. What does our E stand for?
Elaborate.
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 Elaborate. Okay, what does that mean? Do we know?
Ask how it was invented.
Ask how. So we're just gonna dig a little bit deeper.
Oh.
Okay. So that means in this context, digging deeper. So it says write 5 questions you might ask a car about how it was invented. But what are we looking at today? Not a car.
Washing bucket or washing machine.
Okay. So let's come up with 5 questions. Because of time, let's do 3. Okay. But I want you to come up with your own 3. We're not gonna work together on this. Okay. So 3 questions about how it was invented. Does that make sense? Make sense? How many minutes do we need?
Like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 maybe.
Let's do 4 minutes. 1 minute to think, and then 1 minute for each question.
I already got a question.
Okay,
Wait.
write it down. So what you can think about what would have happened to have a washing machine invented, right?
It was made out of metal.
Yes.
That one at least.
But what does a washing machine have that a washing bucket doesn't?
Power.
Power, which is what?
Electricity.
Okay, so would electricity have to come first
Yeah.
Yeah.
before a washing machine was invented?
So
So think about stuff like that.
How would we say that? Like,
Would electricity have had to be invented first?
I don't remember the question.
You guys can talk about it together if you need to.
Yeah. How did you come up with to put clothes in?
well, that's what you did on the washing bucket. How does the middle thingy spin?
By electricity.
Sure.
Okay, how many questions does everybody have?
One.
One.
It's confusing.
I got
That's
Okay,
awesome.
we'll do this first. So, was our first question about electricity?
Yep.
Yeah.
What electricity?
Graham, what was your second question?
Why was it metal? Why was nothing metal?
Okay, why was it metal? That's a good one.
Why does it spin? The washing machine.
Okay, so why does a washing machine spin?
Yeah,
Because did a washing bucket spin?
Nope.
No.
I'm glad you said that, Luke, and you said because of electricity.
He's saying why does it spin? You asked how it was spinning.
I will not be able to write 5. No, we're only writing 3 for the sake of time.
Okay, what is vital to a washing machine? What do we have to have?
Water.
Water. So, do you think they had to do something with plumbing
Yes.
Yes.
before they invented the washing machine?
You could. How do you?
And soap.
And soap. Okay, so
Tide
what could you
Pods.
ask about soap?
Tide Pods.
You could ask what soap they used originally, because obviously our soap now is different.
We don't use I'm gonna use Tide Pods basically, right?
Tide Pods is soap. It's just soap in a little pod.
Oh.
When you break it apart, it's just soap.
What soap did?
What soap did they use? Did they have to have plumbing? Or use plumbing?
You don't have to write that one down, but yeah, that was one I wrote down.
Oh.
Okay, let's look at our next box, just because of time. Predict. What does predict mean?
Think into the future?
Okay, so
What do you
Guess.
think will happen?
guess what we think will happen. So we know our book is about the technology or the history of a washing machine or washing bucket. So let's predict 3 things that we might learn. So what's one thing you think you'll learn reading this?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I need you to at least have 3.
Wait, things that we'll learn?
Yeah, what's 3 things you think you'll learn once we read this book?
How many things?
3.
know two more.
Yes, you do. You're
I do.
smart. Think. Okay, does everybody have 3?
I have 2.
I got 3.
Okay, Luke, tell us yours.
That there wasn't always a washing machine.
Okay, that's why something you might learn. Keep going.
That it was harder and it took longer.
To wash them by hand?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your last one?
I mean,
Is that both yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. What do you have?
I learned how they used to use a washing bucket.
Okay, so we'll learn how they used to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also think that I will learn what soap they use.
What soap they used. Okay. Graham, what do you have?
When the washing machine was invented, and why did they switch from a washing bucket to a washing machine?
Okay, so that's the one I had. And then I said we might learn why it was moved from being outside to inside. And then I said we might learn if they've always used water and soap or if they use something else at first. So, I keep looking at my camera because I'm afraid I'm going to run out of storage and it's going to stop the video. But, anyways, so there's 3 books.
You have a lot of pictures.
I do. I have a daughter, and so now I have a lot of pictures of her. Do your moms have a lot of pictures of you?
Yes,
Yes.
Too many, maybe?
yes.
She need all of them from birth.
Yes.
She still takes pictures.
Yeah, I'm sure I will be the same way.
I take too many pictures.
Okay, so let's read. This is your book for next week, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we're gonna skip around just because of time, since you're gonna read this, and next week. So, chapter 1, I'm stealing someone's book, so you two share, and then Graham can have his own. I'm gonna read chapter 1 to you,
Okay.
and we're gonna skip around, okay? So, chapter 1 is Washing Day. It was a beautiful summer day, and Wendy Wilson was drawing in her notebook. She could hear her twin sisters, Margaret and June, playing hopscotch. Her brother Thomas was riding his bike, and her father was at work in town. It was Monday, which meant it was washing day. Wendy's mother sprinkled soap flakes into a large wash tub. Then she used the paddle to move the dirty clothes back and forth in the water. Stirring the clothes was hard work, and it took a long time for them to get clean. So what did they move the clothes around with?
A paddle.
A paddle. So what, in our washing machines now, what moves our clothes around?
The
Spinny stuff.
That's called an agitator, but yes.
Agitator.
And then what soap did it say they used?
Little flake.
Little soap flakes. So is that kind of different than our soap? Our soap's
Yes.
probably liquid or like a pod. Okay. Wendy's grandmother, meanwhile, was rinsing clothes as they came out of the wash tub and before they were put through the wringer. What do we think the wringer is?
This thing.
Like the thing that tells you when it's done or
The
something,
spin.
maybe?
This thing.
What do we think the wringer does? So it's
dries it?
dries it, right? It probably, so they stick it in and they crank it and it pushes all the water out so it can dry.
I've seen Wendy's washing machine before.
That's smart.
Okay. So, do we have to rinse our clothes when they come out of the washing machine before we dry them?
No.
It does it for us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Come and give us a hand, Wendy, her grandmother called, and then they were ready to feed the rinsed laundry into the wringer. The job required a team effort. Wendy promptly put down her notebook and went to help her mother and grandmother. Today there were mountains of sheets and pillows that had to go through the wringer. Wendy's mother guided the wet linens through the rollers while Wendy turned the handle that powered them. Her grandmother collected the sheets as they came through the rollers, ready to be hung on the line. While turning the rollers, Wendy was thinking, why does washing have to take up so much time? When Wendy grew up, she did not want to spend her whole life doing laundry. After she had helped with the sheets, Wendy took out her notebook and began sketching. She liked to understand how things worked. She even created her own inventions. It was a challenge thinking up new ideas, and she loved tinkering with machines. She made things out of old parts and pieces of timber or metal that were lying around in the tool shed. Once she even invented a bicycle-powered milkshake maker. Whoa. For her 11th birthday, Wendy's father had given her 2 notebooks and a brand new pencil with an eraser. It was exactly what she had wanted, and she had already filled up half of the notebook with ideas for inventions. I'm going to make you read. Follow along. Wendy's mother wiped her brow and sighed deeply. Mother always looked exhausted on washing day, she thought. Her mother picked up the basket of laundry and began hanging the clothes on the clothesline. Any garments that did not fit on the line would be dried inside by the fire. There must be a better way to complete this monumental task, Wendy complained. Her grandmother laughed. You should have seen how we did washing when I was a girl, she said. What was washing like in the old days? Asked Wendy. As her grandmother grinned broadly, Wendy always was teasing her about the old days. Decades ago, we had to cart water from the well and then we boiled it in a huge copper pot, replied Wendy's grandmother. Washing technology was very primitive back then. What does that mean? Primitive. Washing technology was very primitive back then. Little, like there wasn't very many people that had it, probably. So maybe the really important people or people that had a lot of money had it. When I grow up, I'm going to be the inventor, and the first thing I'll invent is a better washing machine, Wendy declared. Wendy's grandmother hugged her oldest granddaughter. I'll let you get on with that then. Wendy thought about her mother's birthday, which was the next day. Tuesday was ironing day, and Wendy knew what she was giving her mother this year. She would have to get up exceptionally early in the morning. What do we think Wendy's going to give her mom on ironing day for her birthday?
She's gonna get up early and start ironing all the clothes.
Probably. So if our moms, or since I'm a mom, if I still did laundry like this, it would be an all-day task to get all of our clothes done, right? Mm-hmm. And then ironing day is the next day. So we're going to skip to chapter 4 because we are going to read this all together next week when we have a little bit more time. But we would probably have a lot less clothes too, right? If we had to do it this way. So what's the chapter title of chapter 4?
A surprise.
What do we think the surprise is going to be based on the pictures?
She gets up early and starts ironing.
Have you looked at the pictures?
And then a dude walks in
With oranges.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do we think the dude is?
The dad.
The dad. What's this next picture on this page?
A big pot with a washing machine.
Okay, so what do we think the surprise
she
is going to be?
invented a new
Washing
washing
machine.
machine.
Okay, because remember we've skipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, just because I have to get you back. One day after Wendy's mother was well again, her father arrived home from work with a basket of oranges. The children rushed to greet him. Oranges, shouted the twins. We love oranges. Oranges were a rare treat in the Wilson household. What's the occasion? Asked Wendy's mother, putting down the laundry basket. I received a promotion at work, said Wendy's father, looking pleased. Then he gave Wendy's mother a hug. Maybe with a little bit more money coming in each week, we can finally afford to buy something that will make your life easier. Wendy's mother looked puzzled, and Wendy was confused too. What could they buy to make mother's life easier? 2 weeks later, Wendy's father announced that he had another surprise. Just then, a delivery truck pulled up. They watched as 2 men struggled up the path with an enormous box. What does enormous mean?
Big.
Big, gigantic, huge. Stay inside, said Wendy's father, going outside to meet them. No peeking. After what seemed like a long time, he called everyone onto the side porch. There before them stood a brand new washing machine. Don't forget to plug it into the outlet, said the delivery man. Plug it into the outlet? Is it electric? Wendy lifted the lid and looked inside the machine. It was so new that it gleamed. What does gleamed mean?
Shine.
Okay. She swarmed with excitement. The machine actually looked like some of her drawings. The next Monday, Wendy's mother tried out the new machine. She filled the machine with water and put the washing in and sprinkled the soap flakes on top. When she turned it on, the machine shuddered into action. The paddle-like agitator was powered by electricity, which meant no one had to stir with a paddle. The best part was the ringer. The ringer was a smaller version of the one in the yard, and it was attached to the machine. Even better, it could be swung over the sink. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. So this is closer to our washing machines, right?
Her drawing is our washing machine.
Yeah. But the one that they have, so it talks about the paddle-like agitator. Do we have that in our washing machines?
No.
Some of you might not. In the middle of your washer, is there like a round?
Yeah, yeah, I have
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Some of the washing machines now don't have that. And then
I don't know if I do. I did have it though, I'm pretty sure.
some of it, typically if it's a front loader, so if you can open the door right in front of you, it doesn't have that anymore. But if it still opens on top, it does. And then the ringer was a smaller version of one in the yard. So let's look back at this picture. Do we see the ringer, the part that dries the clothes?
Yes.
So they still have to run all the clothes through that and get all the excess water out and then hang them on the line. So that's still different than ours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at our last box. What is the title of our last box?
Confirm.
Confirm. So let's write down 2 things we learned. Or let's actually each say one thing we learned. Luke, what's one thing you learned?
They have like they have like the little ringer on theirs.
They have on their new one, they still have the ringer.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just put ringer for short. Austin, what's one thing you learned?
That oranges were like a special treat for them.
Okay, that's a good one. We didn't know there would be oranges in this book, did we?
Nope.
Are oranges special now?
No.
No.
Oranges are actually one of the cheaper fruits now. Okay, Graham, what's one thing you learned?
That they have way different washing. They have way different washing machines than us.
Okay, let's be specific. What's one?
They're older.
Okay, they're older, but what makes them different though?
They have a ringer.
They have a ringer, okay? So that's kind of what Luke put, but let's put, we learned that they used a paddle first, right? So let's put paddle first. And then what did they use next?
Like the little thing that comes up.
What was that called? An agitator. So they went from a paddle to an agitator.
How do you spell agitate?
Sound it out. Okay. And then one thing I learned is that it took multiple people to do all of their washing. Okay. So before we leave, you have to tell me one thing you found interesting or one other thing you learned in the book. Or how we did it. Like how we filled this paper out. We'll start with Graham this time. We'll go backwards.
That they had a metal thing instead of it didn't have electricity running it.
Okay. So you thought that was interesting? Yeah. Do we need to skip you? Luke, what's one
That they
thing you
use
learned?
the paddle.
That they used the paddle. Okay. Do you think anything was interesting outside of the oranges? Okay, so let's think about this. When they got their new washing machine, they had electricity.
Yeah.
So why didn't they have it before?
Because it was
Because the
older.
washing machine didn't take electricity.
Okay, so let's think about the Wilson family specifically. They already had electricity, but they had never bought the newer invented washing machine. Why do we think they didn't buy it?
Because they were
Because
too
save
poor.
money.
Yeah, it was probably really expensive at the time. It's still expensive now, but it's normal now, right? Probably everybody you know has a washing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't need your papers back.